So if you've ever talked to an AI like Claude, and you've asked for something deep, something professional, but what you get back just feels, I don't know, generic.
A little flat.
Yeah, flat, or even just wrong. It can feel like you've just hit a brick wall.
That frustration is so common. But what we're learning is that the wall isn't really the model's power. It's the quality of the conversation we're starting.
We're whispering at it.
Exactly. We're giving these vague instructions to this massive system, and then we act surprised when the output is just, high-tech mush.
Well, that ends today. We know that you, the learner, are always looking for that shortcut, that efficient path to getting high-value knowledge and mastering AI communication. That is the path.
It's the ultimate shortcut. So today we're doing a deep dive into the playbook. We've taken Anthropic's own guidance, their 10 golden rules for crafting really effective prompts for models like Claude Opus and Sonnet.
Our mission today is to move you from just being a passive user of AI to becoming a precision orchestrator.
Yeah, and we're going to structure this as a clear path. We've got 3 pillars, okay? First, the foundational rules for control and intent. Second, how to structure execution for big projects. And then finally, the advanced tricks that the top 1% are using.
Before we jump in, there's one term we should probably define.
Right. Few-shot prompting.
What is that?
It's actually really simple. It just means giving the AI examples. You show Claude a sample of the perfect output you want, the tone, the format, and you just tell it, do this.
Got it. Mimic this exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so let's start with that foundation. Rule number 1 is to be, and I like this wording, painfully, obsessively specific.
Painfully is the key word. This isn't just a good habit. It's about understanding how literal these machines are.
If you leave any room for ambiguity, the AI has to guess.
And guessing is where hallucinations start. It's where you get bad output. Claude is perfectly, almost unnervingly literal. You have to close every single loophole.
The analogy they use is great. Don't just ask for a pizza.
Right. You'll get who knows what.
You have to say, a large, thin-crust pepperoni pizza with extra cheese cut into squares.
And when you apply that same logic to high-stakes work, that's where the power is. Don't just say write a Python function. Specify everything. Write a Python function for a data analyst audience. Make sure all the doc strings follow PEP8 standards. And I need 3 specific examples for edge cases. There's no room for randomness there.
That leads right into rule 2, which is tell the AI why you want it. The intent principle.
And this is transformative. A command tells the AI what to do. Intent tells it why, and that turns a command into a mission.
Oh, okay.
The why is the secret sauce. If I just say, summarize this legal document, you might focus on everything equally, the footnotes, the header.
Right.
But if I say, summarize this for a non-lawyer executive who needs to grasp key risks before a meeting in 1 hour, now the AI knows.
Now it knows that anything that isn't a key risk is just noise.
Exactly. It changes its entire approach. It becomes a specialized risk analyst, not just a summarizer.
And that priority shift is where rule 3 comes in. Your examples are the unquestionable truth.
This is that few-shot prompting in action. When you give Claude a sample, it treats it like sacred text. It will mimic that style, that structure, with total fidelity.
That's so powerful. You don't have to try and describe an abstract tone like professional but approachable.
No, you just show it.
You just give it an example of what that looks like.
Yeah, the best practice is to keep a folder of your own best work, your best emails, your best reports. And when you need something new, you just say, here's the tone I need. Now apply it to this new request. It's the fastest way to clone your own voice.
So by supplying that intent, how does the model fundamentally change its approach?
Intent lets it filter content. It prioritizes the important stuff like risks over the low-value stuff like jargon.
Okay, so if those first 3 rules are about defining the mission, what happens when you have a long, complex task?
Right. Now we're shifting from being a basic user to someone who actually structures the entire workflow.
This is where you become the power user.
Exactly. And it starts with rule 4. Big projects need small, strategic checkpoints.
Oh, this is a big one. Trying to get a 50-page report in one shot.
It's such a common mistake. It just overwhelms the model, and the result is almost always this incoherent blob where the beginning has no idea what the end is doing.
I've done this. I tried to write a 10-page market analysis, and it spent, 40% of its time on this huge, irrelevant intro about the history of market analysis.
That's such a relatable failure.
Yeah.
The fix is to become the project manager. You force what's called a chain of thought approach.
So step by step.
Step by step. First, just generate the outline. That's it. You approve it. Then you say, okay, now write the introduction based only on that outline. Then chapter 1, you course correct at every step.
That way you catch a fatal flaw early instead of after an hour of wasted generation.
Precisely. Which brings us to rule 5, which is about tone. Demand action, not advice.
Be direct.
Be very direct. Use an optive command. You're pushing it into execution mode, so you want to avoid all that softening language.
But what if you're using it for, say, client communication? You don't want to sound abrasive.
The key is that the command needs to be clear, not rude. The passive way is asking, what do you think of this Python code? The active, precise way is, refactor this code to improve performance and readability. Return only the refactored code.
Ah. The command itself dictates the format and the goal. No fluff needed.
Right. Clarity is kindness to the AI, which leads to rule 6, specifying the what, not the whatnot.
Controlling the format.
This is so critical for automation. Telling an AI what not to do is actually really vague. Phrases like, don't use markdown, or don't use bullet points get ignored all the time.
You know, this is my vulnerable admission for the day. I still wrestle with this. I use negative commands, and it just seems to ignore them sometimes. It spits out the bullet points anyway.
And that's exactly why. The model prioritizes the positive act of generating text over remembering a negative constraint.
So the fix is positive instruction.
Always. Instead of what to avoid, define the exact structured output you want. For instance, output the final answer as a single JSON object with 2 keys, summary and key points, which must be an array of strings. That is unambiguous.
For the learner, what is the biggest risk of using a negative command like don't use X?
They're vague. The model often ignores them and does the exact thing you wanted to avoid.
So we've got the foundation, we've got the structure, these last 4 rules, these are the advanced techniques.
Yeah, this is where the magic happens. This is what the expert prompters are doing.
Okay, what's rule 7?
Rule 7 is to use simple labels, specifically XML tags, to steer behavior. Most people just throw everything into the prompt. The instructions, the context, the examples, it's all one big blob.
And Claude sees it that way too.
Right. Until you use these markers. Tags like instructions or document act like highlighters for the AI. It helps it cleanly separate the different parts of your prompt.
So you're creating structural blocks for it.
Exactly. You wrap your source material in a document tag, your instructions in an instructions tag. This has a huge effect on how the model parses everything. It gets much cleaner, much more predictable.
Whoa. So you could use tags to manage, like, dozens of different documents in a single prompt for a huge comparative analysis.
Now you're getting it. It's like stacking Lego blocks of data. It's a game changer for managing these massive context windows.
That makes so much sense.
And then Rule 8 is for any kind of sequential work. If you're using an agent workflow, you have to announce it.
You mean for tasks that take multiple steps?
Yeah, any back and forth. You have to tell the AI that the job is ongoing. Otherwise, its context could just reset between turns. You're basically giving it short-term memory.
So just a single sentence, like you are an agent in a multi-turn workflow.
That's it. That one line forces it to track its own progress and saves you from repeating yourself over and over.
Okay. Rule 9 is about external tools, right? Like a calculator.
Yes, and the guidance here is don't scream must. If you command it, you must use the calculator for all math. You get clumsy results. It'll call the calculator for 2 plus 2.
Which just slows everything down. You want it to use judgment.
Precisely. So you use softer, guiding language. You should use the tool when you need to perform complex calculations. This lets Claude exercise some judgment and only use the tool when it's actually helpful.
It's a much smarter outcome.
Much smarter. And finally, Rule 10 is one of the more fascinating ones. If your output feels sloppy, avoid the word think.
Really? Avoid think.
It sounds like a superstition, I know, but the testing on this is consistent. Asking the model to think seems to invite speculation, maybe shallower reasoning.
So what do you use instead?
Stronger, action-oriented words. Consider, analyze, evaluate. You're demanding a more structured step-by-step process.
It's like analyze forces it to show its work, whereas think lets it just free associate.
That's a perfect way to describe it. It shows that good prompting is as much about empirical observation as it is about, perfect logic.
Beyond the prompt itself, what changes when the model expects an agent workflow?
It starts tracking progress and preparing for the next step. It avoids looping or restarting from scratch. When you tie all of these rules together, the big idea that emerges is that the AI is, at its core, intensely literal. and it really wants to be helpful.
You're moving away from treating it like a search engine.
Exactly. You stop whispering at it and you start treating it like a highly specialized, hyper-competent employee.
So the core transformation for you, the listener, is to really embrace being the director. Claude is the actor, and it's just waiting for precise instructions.
And when you give it that specificity, that intent, and that clear structure, the results shift almost immediately.
From generic to really professional grade output. So here's our call to action. We encourage you to open Claude right now, or whatever model you're using, and just apply rule number 1, hyperspecificity, and rule number 2, the intent principle.
You're going to see a difference right away.
An immediate difference in the quality of what you get back.
And maybe here's a final thought to mull over. If we need this level of precision, this much intent and structural clarity to communicate well with an AI, what does that tell us about the clarity we owe to the other complex humans in our lives?
Something to think about.
Yeah. As you write your next prompt.
Thank you for sharing your source material for this deep dive into the art of AI orchestration. We'll catch you next time.